Hi, welcome to my channel, Compass Starlight. I want to talk about a couple things tonight, but I also want to try to draw a few character cards and see if there are any messages that might tie into the subject matter. So I've shuffled these already, but I'm just going to do a couple more. That's usually when they fall out, and then I have floor cards. Those are the ones that choose me. Just see. Maybe I'll give him another riffle here. Yep, there we go. How many do we get? Oh my gosh, I got 5 cards. That's a lot. Malpomin. Card number 17. Rhetoric, card number 23. Arithmetic, card number 25. And, oh no, Celestial Power, card number 49. This is going to be a big message, isn't it? It's going to be a longer video. And finally, Faith, card number 40. Jeez. So, let me see here. Now I have cats scratching at the door. Try to stay focused. Focused on the project at hand. There are projects at hand. Tasks, achievements, goals, whatever it is that you have in your path for you. Do try to stay focused. Stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on your principles. In all matters, take action for the self. Take action on your own behalf. So, alright, I guess I'll start here. Card number 17. Optimism. See a positive side, even in tragedy. Stay positive. Okay, it's the first one. The next one is 23. Arithmetic. Measure. Combine strengths and use them to your favor. Yeah, that makes sense to me, but does it make sense for others? The next one. Did I skip one? No. Celestial Power, 49. 49. Intuition. Understand the mechanisms of the various realities. I'm gonna have to look all of these up again because I can't remember them. Short-term memory. And number 40, Faith. Faith says, tradition adopts the wisest and noblest ideas. Alright, I think I'm feeling a little bit anxious. Just maybe. There's like a path, right? And you're going on the path, and the goal is to pursue that path. Makes sense, right? And there are things you don't know, but you know you have good things coming in. And here's one of the things. Okay, you can have good things coming in, and you're going to be set up with a choice, right? So it's not like, do I stay with this job I have or go to this new job? No. It's like, it's more than that. It's, do I stay with this job I have? Do I go to a new job? Do I go to the other new job? Oh, look, this other new opportunity just fell in my lap. I think very few people who are listening to this message are going to be like, oh yeah, stay with what I've been doing. Because obviously there's a reason why you're looking to make a change. But the point is, it's not just like, do I stay or do I go? There's something, you're less likely to stay with the old thing. It's not just A or B. Do I stay or do I go? No, it's like I'm going, but where do I go? Because there's so many different opportunities or options, right? So that was work. You're looking for a place to live, or you're planning on moving, and again, it's not like do I stay or do I go. It's like which one, which one is the one that I have to choose, which one's the best fit for me. Same thing in relationships, and probably like there are innumerable situations where this would fall into play. It's not an A or B thing. There are going to be several choices. And so you really have to use your intuition and your discernment to figure out which option is the right one for you. And what's most difficult about that is not so much knowing yourself, it's actually knowing what those circumstances are about. So if it's, and probably with Mercury coming into retrograde here real soon, I find more of a challenge because a lot of people say, like, don't start something new in a Mercury retrograde, only because it's not that it won't be good. It's like a bunch of things will be revealed to you about the thing that were not revealed when you agreed to the terms of the agreement, right? So, for example, if you are embarking on a new job, you think this one's going to be a better fit, but then you find out that like all of these other tasks and duties are encompassed in the position that you are taking, and they were not disclosed to you ahead of time. That's the thing, the disclosure. That's the moon part. So, yeah, it's going to be really difficult to be able to see everything you need to see in order to make an accurate decision for yourself, or you have to be really discerning. How can you trust yourself? How can you trust yourself that you're making the best choice for yourself? When like all you have are stuff that is written about the job position, that your expectations, and you think you can live up to those expectations, like maybe you could go into the new job and shadow somebody and try it out before you agree to the terms so that you get a better idea of the feel for the environment or what you're actually getting yourself into at that particular place of employment, agency, company, what have you. I mean, it's really tough when you have, you're looking at a new place to live, right? You get to spend the night in the place. Like if you're buying a house, how often do people get to actually spend the night in the house that they're interested in buying? Let me really sleep on it and see how it feels, right? But it's very seldom we actually get that opportunity. Or love relationship. That one is, there's a little bit more to that one, right? If it's a person, and it doesn't even have to be a love relationship, it could be somebody that you love and it's not really like a romantic relationship, or it could be a friend and it's some kind of partnership, or just a friend, and there's an evolution of the friendship in some way or another. All right, so what I'm thinking of is, we'll use the example of a romantic partner in this particular scenario. So if somebody comes to you and they want to develop a relationship with you, right? But of course, it's not just one, right? There's more than one option. It's not just A or B, do I stay or go? It's a slew of options. So how do you know you're making the right choice? And maybe there's something that you think is going to make you happy, whether it's in this scenario or, you know, any of the other scenarios that I said, that you think that there's something that's really going to bring you happiness, going to make you happy, or you're pinning your hopes on it. How can you gotta ask? I don't know why I have such high energy right now. And muddled speaking. Prove it. So when it comes to people that want to start new partnerships of any kind in your life, make them prove that they mean whatever it is that they say. Like, make them stand behind their word on whatever it is that they're presenting to you. Prove it. And when it comes to like a love relationship, how do you make somebody prove it? It's going to take witnessing just that word makes me cringe a little bit. It's going to take witnessing probably repetitive action, right? If somebody stands behind their word, they're going to have to show it over and over again to actually show a consistent effort. The other part of that is there may be some situations, including the scenario of a love relationship, but there may be other scenarios that are uncomfortable, where there might be some confrontational, and somebody is presenting something to you in any regard and wanting to make it sound really good or look really good. How can you be sure that you're not being gullible, or that they are sincere enough to take them at their word? So prove it is one. Are they healed? You're gonna have to do some use your intuition and like really read into their energy and how they are expressing themselves in like body language and verbal language to assess whether or not this person or these people with whom you will be engaging are healed. And if not, that's going to be an element of your consideration in your decision making. And the other one is, do you have a pure heart? And that's, I think that's really, sometimes it's really hard to tell. You just spend some time getting to know people sometimes to know if that's how they live their life. And I think that there is energy around that. The reason why it's being brought into question is because there's energy around of like kind of being unhealed, for the unhealed people. I mean, we all have things we gotta heal throughout our lives. But if you've done work, if you've been doing work, if you continue doing work, that's good. It puts you like one step ahead in the game. And it's not really a game, right? It's life. It's not the game of life. It's not a game. You make your world. But are you healed? Do you have a pure heart? Okay, so the thing is that some people can create a world around them using blocks like bricks, using blocks of values and structure to build a foundation, and those values that are the blocks that they're building their foundation are not their own values, and they believe that this foundation that they've built around them is comprised of bricks that speak to or speak for their values, when really they're the values of other people. And there may be situations occurring in their own lives that make them confront or clarify. What am I trying to say? Confront their values? Challenge their values? Challenge their values. So if you've been living by somebody else's rule book, like the rule book your parents gave to you and embedded into your psyche, and the one that your childhood education facilitator implemented, right? The people that formed you as a child in your adolescence, etc., are pushing you in a direction to embrace certain values, cultural values, social values, and you take them on as your own, and that's what you live up to, and you build your world around using the bricks that are formed in those values. But there may come a time when you realize that those values are really not in alignment with who you are and what brings you happiness, and someone or a certain situation or an experience may challenge an individual to really like take a look at those values and how they've built their world around them. That this is not really, is this really you? Like, this is not stable because it's not really you. It's not, it doesn't come, it's not born out of your own wishes, desires, and your own personal values. Like, I can be a pretty secretive person when it comes to some of my values. And it's not, those are not things that people necessarily express to one another or share with one another, and we don't have to. It's like voting. It's like, it's a good idea to vote, but you don't have to tell anybody who you're voting for. It's none of their business, right? So those values are kind of the same, that you have them and you live by them, but you don't really owe anybody any explanation for having those values. But when they're not your own, you live your life building this life around you based on values that are not your own, and then something comes along and pokes the bear, and it's like, why? It makes a person question their values and the world that they're building around them, and how much it does or doesn't represent who they are. And like, that's it's a challenging moment right there. One has to take a look at themselves and go inside and really think about all the choices that they're making based on the values that other people have imposed upon them. And so then the question becomes, what is true for the self? What is true for that individual? What do they really want or desire, and what really makes them happy? Because those people may not know. I hope this is coming through clearly. I feel like I'm just throwing a lot of words out there. I have a lot of things in my mind, and a lot of energy going around in there. So when it comes to a person, especially a love interest that wants to engage with you, you have to be discerning, and you have to ask them to prove their feelings. And that may mean that they'll have to take some time to do so. Question them, are you healed? And try to figure that out for yourself based on their behavior, their words, their expressions, their actions and reactions. And then finally, does that person have a pure heart? And I think that can be a little bit more difficult to glean and answer. However, if somebody's like enraged, it's going to be pretty clear. I think that's one thing I have a little bit of anxiety about, is like the fear and rage, because I know I don't know what that's attributed to. It's an energy that's going to be coming forward, and like I hope I can just like duck away from anyone in my vicinity that might be bringing that kind of energy. But I'm just trying to think of what the moon's doing and what the planets are doing. I don't know. Oh, it might be that Mercury retrograde, but that seems like a weird thing to... Anyway. I'm not an astrologer. So, that was specific to love, though. So if it's going to be tough, though. Like, if you're buying a house, a similar situation... Even a car. Yeah, like this vehicle has all the bells and whistles. It had this done, this done, this done. Ask for the reports. Like, what is it called? Carfax, is that one of them? Or there's some business or entity that actually like runs a record of a vehicle in terms of how many accidents it's been in, when were those accidents, what kind of work was done to repair it. Because even though something may look really good on the outside, you may discover at a later point in time that there are I don't like to use these words, but like defective flaws as a result of being damaged at one point. Oh my gosh. Did you hear what I just said? I mean, like, that's really what it's about? That's so sad. Because it's like big picture, that's across the board. Defective flaws resulting from being damaged at some point. All right, well, if you're looking at the individual, including yourself, consider that and look into it. Take a look at yourself. Where have you been damaged? And how has that created defective flaws? Oh my goodness. All right, but yes, the car, there's usually a record, you know, how frequently it was serviced and regular maintenance, tire rotation, and also the record of any damage incurred from any accident and when that accident occurred, and whether or not the repairs were done by whom. Like, you could actually go, if it's local, you could go to the repair shop and like ask for their records. Do we need to go that deep? Maybe, I don't know, it's being brought up, so maybe. Or the house, again, new roof, new furnace, whatever, prove it. Do you have those invoices to prove that that was done last year or whenever the time period was, or what was the company that was used? For some reason, there's some significance in that. The details. Don't gloss over the details. All right, so that covers love relationships. People wanting to come into your life, like some kind of partnership. It covers contracts with cars, auto, and the like. Property. Yes. Properties. Cars, homes, changing homes. Suss out the details. If it's an exchange of owner, it may be necessary to ask them to prove it. Oh, and also, like, why are they, maybe there's something about why they are departing from their, why are they releasing their property? I mean, there may just be negative attachments to it that that person has had. All right, so property, contracts, people coming in, relationships, work. Maybe it's a good idea to ask questions about, especially if it's a larger company, agency. A, what's their turnover rate? B, how long, like, what's their average from the date of hire to advancement? Does it take a person 6 years to go up and get more responsibilities, higher pay? Does it take 3 years to get a pay raise? Or does it take 6 months? Right? They're little things, but they may seem inconsequential, but they are probably important. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to these cards. Like I said, I got to read this again. Oh my goodness, it is a longer video. I feel like I just rambled, but I hope there's something out of it. I just have this fear of like something coming in and not really knowing. When two options come in at the same time. One of them comes in, I'm all excited and hopeful, and like it's like, go away. Just an energy that I'm not expecting. Anyhow, all right, I'm going back in here. I'm trying to get back in here. I can't read without the light. 17, optimism. All right, see a positive side, even in tragedy. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely stay positive, even in tragedy. There's like a really small percentage within me that feels like there's a lot of hope for something, but there could be this really weird twist of fate, and it just shows to me something that I don't want to see, and that's my own denial. But the expression of it could be really not welcome in my environment, and then what? Could end up in some kind of tragedy. Let's hope not. I hope not for my viewers as well. Put it that way. All right, rhetoric. 23. Discussion. Sincere dialogue leads to a shared truth. All right, that one's actually really important. It's just, that's kind of the point of everything I rambled on about, right? Shared dialogue, getting to the truth. What is the truth? That's the most important part. What is the truth? I just think when sometimes people are so tightly wound that it's really hard to share their truth. Don't look at me. 25. I mean, really, it takes a lot to be vulnerable, is what it comes down to. To share your truth, you have to be vulnerable. I guess that's a good way to judge whatever situation is going on. You know, the work, property acquisition, moving, you know, relationship, all those things. 25. Arithmetic. Measure. Combine strengths. And use them to your favor. That I see. I think with like vulnerability and dialogue, you can definitely combine strengths and use them to your favor. Those two are definitely like exalted together, these two cards. I think that's really what's going to take, discourse and working together. And if in this month, in the next few days, in this week, you do encounter something that's uncomfortable, maybe an energy or the way somebody's expressing themselves that seems uncomfortable, I really think that that's what's going to move things forward in a positive direction. What did I say? 23 and 25? I have absolutely no recollection of these ever. Discussion, sincere dialogue, and combine strengths and use them to your favor. The problem is, I think, there's some people, like in astrology, we talk about, I'm not an astrologer, I said that, but in astrology, people speak of fixed signs, and it's really hard to get a fixed sign to change their ways. So how can you ask someone or make someone work together, combine strengths? Like, how can you get them to change their perspective, to see that there are ways that you can work together? That may be a challenge. Because, you know, you can show people the way all you want, but you can't make them drink, right? You know what I mean? Just as you can lead a horse to a water, you can't make him drink. So if somebody is fixed that, like, no, there's not even any water there, I don't see it, there's no water there, I do not see it, how are you going to make them drink from what they refuse to see? So hopefully honest discussion, vulnerability can lead to combining strengths, moving forward. Back to celestial power, 49. I'm also trying to be quick. I think it was 40. 49. Intuition. Understand the mechanisms of the various realities. Understand the mechanisms of the various realities. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That card definitely. Celestial Power is one of my favorite cards in this deck, but the mechanisms of the various realities, like everybody has their own reality. And are they formed? The thing is, everything is so mixed up and like complicated. various realities probably come out of source, right? Our perception from source. Okay? Like that's what's the purest. I don't know. But then there's also another reality by which we live that was formed by those values that I talked about earlier, right? Things being imposed upon us by our families, friends, society. So everybody is living according to their own reality, and there are various realities. But you have to use your intuition to understand the mechanisms of the various realities. So you have to imagine like where that person is coming from that you're interacting with based on how they value everything in their world. There should be some cues, some like cue items that tell you more and more about their values. Let's hope, right? And then based on what you know of those values, I don't know, based on what you know of their values, based on what they show you of their values, you can understand the reality. And by understanding their reality, you can work together oh my gosh, my memory. Wow, that's so weird. Combine strengths and use them to your favor. That's so weird. So number 25, that was the arithmetic card before celestial power, but in this book there is no 26. It's 25 and 25, and the other one is music, harmony, attract friends, and disorient enemies. That's really interesting. Attract friends and disorient enemies with music. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, right? You put out a vibration, you attract people with vibration. Vibration has sound. But you can think of it in dance. You can use dance and certain types of music to draw people towards one another. And then there are other kinds of music, like you might hear from a marching band, that's meant to scare the opponent. Alright, but now finally I have to get back to this card. 40. Faith. Tradition. Adopt the wisest and noblest ideas. I just see that coming back to the truth. Your truth. Because no matter what anybody says or judges about the things that you're doing in your path, the noblest and wisest truths for your own life come from within you. Alright, I'm going to leave the message here because I rambled on a long time. And I've been trying to keep my videos much shorter. Hopefully the sound comes through. Thank you for stopping by. This should be like the next few days, the next couple weeks. Yes. What happens on the 12th of December? Is it the new moon? It's a Tuesday. Okay, bye.